This is your average battle with an average sword in Adventure Time.
This is for Jake!
And this is what a next level blade can achieve in the land of Ooh. It's all in the blade, brohams. And today, we're looking at all the swords we can find in all of Adventure Time. Starting with the ones that'd struggle to slay a fly, going all the way to weapons that have taken down gods. Starting things off at a mere 1%, we have the Crystal Sword, belonging to Fiona rather than Finn. Now, take a look at it real quick.
A crystal sword? I'm all about swords.
After seeing that, you may be a bit confused as to why it's so low power. I mean, it retracts, it's got a cool pink glow that seems full of magical energy, it looks pretty sharp. Heck, it even defeats some weird eyeball-looking guys.
Oh, Fiona.
So, what's the catch? This is.
You like my ice sword?
It was a trap all along. Yeah, a sword that's designed to actively restrict its user gets a pretty low grade in my book. And alright, I'll say it. To the one person who's gonna be in the comments saying, well, actually, Finn can get the crystal sword in LEGO dimensions and beat goddamn Sauron from Lord of the Rings with it, or whatever. Please, sit down. I'm not counting that. Please, sit. Good. At 3% power, next up is Jake's sword. Yep, the stretchy dog who can grow 1,000 times his size and crush people has a sword. It may come as a shock to you, but he barely uses it. It only shows up in 2 episodes, in fact. Here it is in the episode Tree Trunks.
Yeah! Sword!
And then again in the Conquest of Cuteness. And Jake actually uses it a grand total of 0 times. It would be the very worst of the worst. I mean, the hilt is bigger than the blade, and it's just straight up never won a fight. But at least it doesn't actively handicap someone. And it's featured in this clip.
I'm gonna eat it all before you even get there! Yeah! Apple pie! No!
I wish I could give it credit for that, but I just can't. We're sliding up to 5% power. Time to move on to the glowing sword. Now, before we begin, everyone here remembers the iconic character Ed the Spider, right? Right?
Oh, what is that sound?
Well, now you'll never forget him. Anywho, his spider wife hates him, and to fix that, Finn and Jake tell him to go get her a gift. Obviously, the best gift to heal a hurting marriage is a magical flaming sword.
like we used to. I'm gonna fix us, Bob.
Yeah, what he said. Except it doesn't even work, because obviously the sword was less for Ed's wife and more for himself. So in anger, he slices his web of food apart, and in turn causes his spider wife to beat the hell out of him, with the sword doing absolutely nothing in regards to defense. Can't fix a marriage, can only cut webs. Yeah, we're dealing with a pretty sucky blade here. Although fire is always a plus, because, you know, it looks cool. But now we've finally gotten out of the dud category. From now on, there's at least a couple of good points we can give each sword. It's time to move up to 11% power. The Stake Sword is honestly kind of lame. I know, controversial opinion alert. Finn gets this one during the Stakes miniseries, where he has to go around and hunt a bunch of vampires to help Marceline get her powers back. Thankfully, Peppermint Butler's decked out and more than ready to help his friends become vampire hunters. I mean, he's really into it.
And what's this behind your ear? A super garlic bomb.
To be fair though, when isn't it a good time to have a super garlic bomb? Anywho, Finn gets his stake sword, and as cool as it is to have a vampire killing blade, you've gotta always remember.
Let me finish my thought.
Stake you! Okay, go ahead.
These are vampires, and most people who wield this are just mere mortals. Sure, you can deal damage with it, but throughout all of Stakes, Finn doesn't kill a single vampire with it. I'll give it bonus points, as technically, General Stakes have been shown to successfully kill vampires in this series, but this sword doesn't have any kills, and on its own is still just kinda nothing. Jumping up to 20% power, we have a sword that belongs to a character that definitely shouldn't be trusted with weapons, Lemon Grab. He's got a sound sword, which looks like a tuning fork, and works pretty much how you'd imagined it to work.
I have to use my sound sword now!
You gotta imagine that can't feel great. I mean, for one, the sound's frequency knocks these kids out. But on top of that, the fact the headphones exploded probably did a butt ton of irreparable damage to his eardrums. While it definitely won't kill anyone on its own, the sound sword is definitely not a weapon you'd want to take lightly. You may just go deaf if you do. And I don't want to be deaf, no thank you. Makes my job a lot harder. Moving on, let's get to talking about the blades that have taken down some actual enemies. We're jumping from 20 to 39% power. Now, this is a sword with a bit more oomph. A bit. The Root Sword, Finn's second blade in the series. He first grabs it in the episode Mystery Train as a part of Jake's big birthday surprise for him. And does Finn manage to take out any daring foes in the episode with his new weapon?
Not unless you count the train's control panel.
And, oddly enough, that's kind of the story of this blade in general. It rarely ever actually harms enemies. We'll get to the few exceptions, but still, kinda a disappointment. Take, for instance, this little clip from the episode Belly of the Beast. A big old monster comes stomping out in front of Finn and Jake's treehouse, and what happens when Finn uses his new sword against the guy? You saw that right. This sword can't even give this giant foot a sliver. Not a single cut. What's the point of a sword if it can't even hurt a giant flesh monster? Well, apparently the point is to just damage plant stuff. No, I'm not kidding. There's only 2 major instances of this sword doing damage, and they're both towards plants. Like here, take this clip from Jake versus Meow. Hey, at least we know the thing is sharp enough to leave a mark and some bark. Meanwhile, even Meow's dagger can slice Finn up a little bit. Come on, Finn, aren't heroes supposed to have, like, a little firepower behind them? And really, the only instance where this blade officially slayed a beast for real was in this clip from the episode Normal Man, where, yet again, nature gets the short end of the stick.
Charge!
And hey, you know what? At least those monsters looked like they could cause some damage. Are they still essentially weeds, though? Yeah. So I can't really say the Root Sword should be any higher than this. The only real bonus points I can give this sword are for the fact that we never see it actually break in this show, so good for it, I guess? Moving up just 1 tick to 40% power, feast your eyes upon Fiona's Flapjack sword! Get it? Feast your eyes, it's a pancake. Also, yes, I'm not mistaken for putting it at this level. This sword has legitimately won a battle without debate. After Cake mixes together some purple chicken milk, dramatic cornmeal, and the crystal tears of a reflective turtle, this simultaneously delicious and deadly blade was born. And like I said, it wins a fight. No joke.
I really liked your story. Can you believe it was my first draft? The imagery was tight. No way.
The pancake reflected magic. The pancake reflected magic. That right there is all I needed to see. The real question is, what would this sword do with some maple syrup drizzled on top? How powerful would it be then? Next up, at 43% power, is the Night Sword, Finn's last blade of the series. So you'd expect it to be a pretty powerful blade, right? No. Okay, well, maybe no is a bit rash. The sword has some power, being forged after Finn loses his small sword to the Grombo. we'll talk about that one later. Anyways, Peppermint Butler helps Finn with his sword issues right before the final battle of the show, but decides Finn's new blade needs some extra secret spice, and summons a special guest to empower it. Our good friend, Hunson Aberdeen.
It is I who summoned you upon this sword. I humbly ask you for an infusion of Nidosphere magic.
Damn, if he's that open to enchanting blades, I wonder if he'll do parties too. The cool thing about this sword, though, is that it can restrain demons, which is good to have when you're dealing with folks who promise they won't suck your soul, and then 5 seconds later...
Time to suck some souls.
Thank goodness that those handcuffs stop the mouth from doing soul sucking. You know what, I won't question magic. This sword can also do something that vampires and demons like Hunson can't. Hurt ghosts. He didn't exactly full-on defeat the ghosts, but hey, being able to hit them at all in this case is an accomplishment. After that, Finn uses it a few more times, tries to fight Fern with it, almost loses, and that's it. We never see the sword in a fight again after that. Well, it's got some bonus points for hurting ghosts and restricting demons at least. Good on it for that, and for everything else, shame. Hey, what do you know? With 44% power, we've got another flaming sword to look at. The Flame Sword. A very clever name, I know. Anywho, in the episode Happy Warrior, Finn's sent down to a hyper-primordial flame kingdom and gets his hands on the blade after defeating one of the kingdom's knights. One issue.
I'm gonna get the fire jewel even if I have to put you in the ground.
The kingdom itself is kinda causing Finn to be overtaken by rage. Not great for a mental state, but in regards to the sword, it seems like it gets stronger the angrier Finn gets.
Talk about a spicy heat. Talk about a spicy heat.
I'd be mad if someone kept on saying that too, but hey, there's a battle won right there for the sword. And it's not the only one either, as after Finn reaches his maximum rage and fights Dragony Flame Princess, we see just how effective this weapon can be. From the person you'd least expect.
With their little faces and swords?
Jesus Christ, Gunther! Fire so hot and sharp it can stab a fire person. This blade breaks logic for the sake of being cool, and I respect that. I guess the only limitation here is how much of a temper you've got, and considering the folks I see online every day, I'm gonna go ahead and say this may be an easy sword to master the art of wielding. Don't give this one to Twitter. Still though, only one major battle win, even if it was as gruesome as can be. From here, we're bumping things up just a slight bit and creeping up to 45% power. Things are about to get a little more serious here. The Wish Star Sword is up next, and it's really weird. Really weird. First off, this is another weapon that belongs to Fiona, not Finn, and also debuted in a comic. Did you even know there were Fiona and Cake comics? Well, apparently there were, and they even had some continuity with Fiona and Cake episodes, which is kinda crazy. Basically, this sword was made in Prince Gumball's magic oven, and allows its wielder to make small wishes. What is a small wish? Well, in the comic, it's matching t-shirts. In the show?
Aha! Cake's helping. I don't care.
I mean, technically speaking, that microphone wish destroyed Lumpy Space Prince's monster parents. That's one more battle won than a couple of other blades on this list. And that wish aspect can definitely aid in a lot of battles. I just wish I knew what a small wish entailed. Like, is wishing the sword had a poison blade small? Is wishing the sword could shoot lightning small? Is wishing the sword could kill anyone with a single blow small? Probably not on that last one, but my point is, who's to say exactly? Either way, a wish is still powerful, and this sword has killed a giant monster, and it's retractable.
Aha!
Sweet. 49% power time. Now we're looking at the Finn sword, and honestly, this may be the weirdest sword in the series in my eyes. Want proof? Think back to how Finn got the blade in the first place in the episode. Is that you? That's the one where Finn and Jake go off to try and resurrect Prismo in Jake's dreams. And through some weird time travel stuff that I'm not even going to try and figure out.
Plan B!
This sword is me? This is me?
I don't know if this makes any sense, but this sword feels like it's beyond paradoxical. Like, I don't think a normal paradox would turn someone into a sword, but then again, how would I know? From here, though, things remain weird, as the first big kill this sword gets on its list is in the episode Dentist, when it kills a bunch of big white worm things for a bunch of ants so Finn can fix his toothache. As weird as that concept is, that looks like a hard-fought battle, and the sword managed to do some serious damage. Full credit where credit is due. However, the most damage this sword ever did wasn't in the hands of Finn, but rather Bandit Princess. After she nabs the sword for herself when Finn drops it, she just goes on a full-on killing spree with it, murdering some rich dude, a couple of spiky people, and even box prints for whatever that's worth. Still, a kill is a kill. Thankfully, Finn's got a good backup in the grass sword, and manages to take out Bandit Princess with no collateral. I don't know why, but that's pretty saddening. That poor Finn clone couldn't do a thing to stop that. Completely helpless. Yeesh. Also, yeah, obviously we're talking about Grass Sword later. Hold your dang horses. Oh, also, Finn can just talk to the version of himself trapped in the sword. I don't know if that's useful, but the option is there.
That nut's gonna try and stick me while I'm not even looking. Don't even stress it, Finn.
That's basically the same thing as having a conscience, so I don't see it as having a power personally. So, it's a fair enough sword, though with no major powers or major wins. Kinda just fine overall. From here, it's time we hit 55% power, and it's time to talk about the blade that fits that bill the best. Next in line is the Sword of the Dead. And yes, it looks just as cool as it sounds. Debuting in the episode It Came from the Nitosphere, Finn needs a weapon to take on Hunson Aberdeer, and just finds the Sword of the Dead lodged in the ground. I mean, I guess I should have expected that. Most dead things are in the ground.
This ant's about to get in his pants, because I'm going to make him uncomfortable while I release those souls!
That's gotta be up there for the worst lines to say when debuting a new sword. But don't worry, Finn makes up for that awful quip in quick fashion, slicing off one of the big old demon's tentacle arm things. And then, after Marceline inadvertently distracts her demon dad, Finn pops out of nowhere and does the impossible. Just disregard the awful battle cry and pay attention to the fact that this sword just beat the ruler of what is essentially hell. This is a demon-stopping sword, and it's also the only time we see the blade, which is kinda sad. We go through all of this, make this cool-ass design, and still decide it only belongs in one episode? Disappointing. But still, it's a hell of a blade, so it gets a lot of points in my book. I've gotta stop with the puns. Also, if you look back at that clip of Finn slashing Hunson's neck sack, he does use another sword. And we get to that baby at 65%. Here it is. Old reliable. Scarlet. Finn's first sword. Scarlet. Compared to some of the other swords we've seen already, this is one heck of a sword. And compared to many others, it's also just nothing to write home about. This is basically the perfect middle of the lane weapon. It's got no magic powers, but it is strong enough to let an adventurer hold their own in a dungeon. Like back in the episode Tree Trunks, it manages to beat 3 sets of enemies. This giant wall of flesh thing? these evil sign dudes, and this weird jewel snake monster.
I can't find its magic gem weak spot. Oh, there it is. Yeah!
Honestly, that's a lot in one episode, but these are just your average dungeon foes. Makes sense that an average sword could beat them. Not everything about Scarlet is average, though. I mean, it can deflect magic fireballs.
Wands are for whips.
I don't think that's very average. My sword can't do that, at least. Though, maybe I just got a crummy one, though. The other thing that isn't average about this sword is the way it's destroyed. In the episode The Real You, Finn gets some smart guy glasses and makes a 4D bubble blower. As you'd definitely expect, this causes a black hole to start sucking up the Candy Kingdom. And as you'd definitely expect, ×2, there's only one way to stop a black hole. Make your sword 4th dimensional, which I'm impressed Scarlet withstood, by the way, and then do this.
I'm all about stupid!
Oh yeah, 2 black holes will just cancel each other out. That makes sense. That makes nothing but sense. But yeah, that's the last we see of Scarlet, and while I won't give it the full credit of destroying a black hole on its own, I think it's fair to say that this is just a step above our average blade. It's time we swing ahead a bit to 83% power. Now this next sword, despite only appearing in one episode, has a list of victims a mile long. This is the Lightning Sword. Not only does it have probably my favorite sword design in the series, I'm a big fan of Zeus and stuff, it can also do this.
Whoa.
Ben Franklin's worst nightmare right there. After Finn enters the dungeon train and takes down his first enemy, he finds the Lightning Sword and starts to go around massacring all the other little dungeon creatures at a rapid pace. I kid you not, this sword has a whole montage dedicated to everything it kills. That last one just exploded on impact. God damn, that's some power. Electrical power. Huh? What do you mean you didn't like that joke? Get it? Alright, I'll see myself out. At least my uncle would be proud of that one. Anywho, after 3 hours of slashing and plundering, Finn finds his first boss of the train, and with a quick bop on the head, well, take a guess as to what happens after that.
Huh? Oh, dang.
That's another instance of this blade causing people to explode. Explode! That can't be understated. How many people did Finn blow up in the 3 hours of fighting we didn't see? What about when Jake heads to bed, wakes up the next day, and finds Finn still fighting? There's a whole lot of unknowns when it comes to the amount of time passed with this episode, but one thing is certain. This lightning sword has killed a lot of people. Like, a lot. For sheer numbers alone, I think it's earned its power rating. From here, we're making a pretty large jump in power, all the way to 88%. From here on out, these are the swords that they speak of in legends. Next, we have the plainly named Steel Sword. Like the Sword of the Dead, it doesn't show up much, but the times it does, it makes its mark. Finn finds this one when he visits the Gladiator Arena in the episode, give me a sec, Morituri te salutamus, and immediately gets to murdering.
I'll kill you for breaking your promise!
Well, okay. Technically, despite literal decapitation, this is a ghost, so he's already dead. But still, being able to defeat a ghost is impressive, as we've discussed. Even if Jake is able to do it with his thighs. But, okay, why is the sword this high up in terms of power if it can do something that people can do with their bare legs? Well, for one reason. It kills this giant soul-sucking, demon-destroying tree monster named Darren. Yeah, this sword just straight up one-shotted an ancient tree god. Even if we factor in the fact that it hit Darren's weak spot in his brain seed, This sword's got Kingdom/Dimension Saver on its resume, and that's not something to scoff at. Now we're doing another jump, reaching 95% power. If you see someone coming at you with these, you're not just dead, you're double dead. Next up is the small sword, or as some folks know it, Rattleballs sword. Now if you're sitting there laughing at the name Rattleballs and don't know the background to this, let me explain. Rattleballs is a robot who is part of an army made by Princess Bubblegum to protect the Candy Kingdom. But after he and his robot brothers were found to be too dangerous, PB had his entire kind destroyed. Except Rattleballs managed to survive, and spent the rest of his years in exile at a dump, refining his swordsmanship. Now, thanks to all that time left to train, and thanks to the sleekness of the sword, Rattleballs can do this.
What the?
Your blade must be swift enough to slice the air between you and the target, removing all wind resistance. The shadowless thrust.
I'd say any explosive blade dash like that is cause for concern as is. I mean, would you want to explode because someone hit you with a perfect dash using a perfect blade? If you said yes, you're free. Anywho, unfortunately, Rattleballs dies in extremely embarrassing fashion.
Please release my sword. Yabba dabba dabba dabba.
Don't you dare laugh. He was a warrior, damn it. So, yeah. After Finn loses his blades at that time, both the grass and the Finn sword, hello Fern, he needs a new sword, and decides to take up his former mentor's weapon. And honestly, compared to some of these other ones, it's got some pretty impressive feats. It's got two of them, in fact. Feat number 1. This is a big, scary, Grumbo monster. Seems pretty big and scary, right? Well, watch what happens when it meets the Rattleball sword. What is it with swords causing things to explode in Adventure Time? Is every blade magical? But alright, as impressive as it is to kill a giant beast in one blow, the next little detail puts the blade over the edge and shows just how powerful it is. And it's not even Finn who uses it here. The episode Whispers has a fan favorite character return, the Lich, just in hand form. After Jake accidentally shoves Farm World's Lich's hand into some fountain and across every dimension, it does its best to try and get Sweet Pea to join the cause of evil. And he almost succeeds too, but Sweet Pea is just too sweet for the Lich hand. I mean, come on, look at how sweet this is.
You're just a naughty hand.
Beast, obey me. Obey? No!
Nothing sweeter than stabbing someone so hard they poof away. But also, that technically makes Rattleball's sword powerful enough to kill the Lich, something we previously figured only Billy's Gauntlet could do. And I guess a pink sweater as well. But that was imbued with love, so it was powerful too. My point is, this sword is powerful as hell in the right hands, and can kill the Lich. I'm gonna say that again, it can kill the Lich. It may be a little less powerful Lich than usual because he's just a hand, but a Lich nonetheless, and that's damn impressive. At 98% power, it's time for maybe the most iconic blade of the series. Maybe? It's definitely got the coolest name. No maybes there. And it's got the coolest backstory. It's as the name entails. It's made from the blood of a demon and was stolen by Jake's dad. Can't top that. Finn first got his hands on this beautiful piece of crimson in the episode Dad's Dungeon, where, with his bare strength, pulls it from an ensnarement of crystals and freaking chains before suplexing this gym monster into an abyss. If that's not the way to make a debut, I don't know what is. But debuts are nothing if you can't keep that ball rolling. And just a few episodes later, Finn finds himself trapped in the Nightosphere, where we see that this sword can handle defense just as well as offense. First, take a look at what Hudson can do with his magic green beams. If you look closely, you can see how they were reduced to piles of green ashes. Jesus Christ! Now, take a look at what happens when it hits the Demon Blood Sword. If you look closely, you can see how the sword didn't turn to green ashes. Surviving some Nidosphere death magic is gonna give you a big bump up in my book. But okay, what about full-on Battles 1? We saw it take down that giant gem creature, but what else has it done? Well here, since you asked so politely, look at this bit, please. They're slaying a dragon, and then they're splitting one in half. If I were a citizen of Ooh, I'd be passing that story of that fight down to my kids and my great-grandkids and my great-great-grandkids and my... And if you want to get real technical about that Nidosphere episode, there's also this to consider. The Demon Blood Sword was able to fully defeat Marceline in a fight, which, considering they're both immortal, either way you slice it, yeah, it defeated an immortal. That's gonna rank you pretty high on this power scaling. Sadly, all good things must come to an end, as after Ice King and Abracadaniel read the hidden inscription on the blade, Keoth, the demon whose blood was used to make the sword, returns and forces Finn to break it. Well, it was fun while it lasted. Still, all things considered, what a heck of a run for this sword. It can absorb one-hit kill shots, slay the unslayable, and also just looks cool. Really cool. This one's gonna be hard to top, but top it we shall. It's time we reach the pinnacle. 100% power. Scratch that actually, let's call it 105. Finally, the upper echelon of swords. Did you have any doubt the grass sword would be up here? Be honest, you didn't. This sword is a literal blade of grass, so right off the bat, I'm giving it bonus points for being a pun. Beyond that though, this thing has a wicked backstory, being sold to Finn by a wizard for $3 whole after the Demon Blood Sword is shattered. $3! Right away, people can tell that the thing is cursed. It gives Finn scarily good accuracy, more than he ever had with his old blades. But if that weren't enough to key you into the curse, there's always Finn's dream he has the night after he buys his new weapon. Gee, wonder what that could be prophesizing. Fern. But yeah, no matter what Finn does, he can't get rid of the sword. Though maybe that's not really a bad thing. I mean, look at how accurate this is. Would you give this up just because of a little curse? If you said you would give it up, you're a fool. A fool, I tell you. It can defeat giant grassy water bear things with its helicopter blade abilities. Never throw away a weapon that can defeat a grassy tardigrade with lawnmower action. Never. And that is just one episode. Let's jump forward a bit to Billy's bucket list and see what the grass sword can do there.
This breeze feels great, doofus. Alright.
Forget the ghost decapitation. This guy was alive, and Finn just murked him. Good lord. And later on, in that very same episode, Finn's tasked with floating in the ocean. But if you know Finn, you know he's afraid of the ocean because of the fear feaster inside his belly button. Thankfully, every problem has a solution. At least when the grass blade is involved.
No mortal blade can harm what?
Well, you heard him. This is no mere mortal blade. This is a blade that can kill immortals and simultaneously cure phobias. What a handy and not overpowered at all sword. I mean, I'm sure it can't get any crazier than that, right?
What the?
Oh, there it is dismembering the Lich by stretching out of Finn's hand through sheer panicked instinct. And there it is, giving Finn enough super strength to nearly hold an entire spaceship in place.
open this door?
And there it is, defeating Orgolorg, a space god who existed before time who wants to harness the power of a comet to destroy worlds. In mere seconds, this sword dices a god to pieces. What more can I say? It activates and overpowers in panic situations, it's cursed to perfection as is, and can defeat gods as easily as it can chop fruit. There's not a single blade on this list that could rival it, except the weird one. This is the flaming sword of Grobgob Glodgrod. Looks pretty wicked, doesn't it? I mean, there's flame swords, and then there's blue flame swords. And we all know blue flames are hotter. Just ask that poor guy Gunther killed earlier. But why is it weird? Well, for the brief time we see it, it only does one thing. But is it ever a hell of a thing to do?
And yes, he was cast down by the flaming sword of Grobgob Globgrod.
Yeah, in all technicality, this sword also defeated Orgolorg, and caused him to crash onto Earth and banish him to his Gunthery amnesia-ridden prison. So what's more powerful? A sword that slices an intergalactic god to pieces instantly, or a sword that tortures said god for thousands of years? Personally, I'm sticking with the grass sword as my number one pick, but I wouldn't blame you at all if you felt the glob sword is stronger. But for now, that's all I've got. What did you think of my power ranking? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to click the vid on screen now for more cartoon content. You know you want to. Until then, bye-bye!